I'm willing to bet that you have questions about selling your home. Questions about commission, how do you cancel the listing agreement if you want to, and more. Most of those questions are answered simply by reviewing the listing agreement, which is the agreement that you sign when you're ready to list your home. Hi, I'm Susan Pruden with Century 21 New Millennium, and if you're viewing this video, then I'm willing to bet you're thinking of hiring me as your marketing specialist. Keep in mind, however, I'm not an attorney, so if you have questions about the legal ramifications of signing this document, then you should seek competent legal counsel. I also urge you to please read the entire agreement, not just the highlights that I'm hitting here. So, let's get started. The first part of the agreement just identifies the parties, you the seller, me and my company, and of course the star attraction, which is the house itself. There's a couple things to note here. All the sellers who are on the deed, for the most part, need to sign this agreement. There may be a few exceptions. Also, if there is a trust involved, there may be some additional questions, and we can go over that individually. This section answers two very common questions, namely, how long does the listing agreement last, and can I cancel it before the expiration date? I prefer that the agreement lasts 4 months. The listing date is the date that you sign the agreement, and the marketing date's the date that we actually start showing the property. So there could be a pretty good gap between those two dates, and there are several reasons why that may happen. You might need to do some cleaning and decluttering, or you might be waiting for an uncooperative tenant to move out. As for canceling it before the expiration date, it says that either party can cancel with 7 days written notice. Once the property is under contract, the listing agreement cannot be canceled. Showing instructions will get covered in Addendum A, which we'll go over once we get beyond this particular document. Next, we're going to cover marketing in the internet. By signing this agreement, you're giving me permission to install a sign, take photographs, market the property on the internet, and put it into our multiple listing service. We call our service Bright MLS. You're not going to put any initials here unless you don't want the property to be marketed on the internet or you don't want to have the property address displayed. Internet marketing is so important in today's market that if you choose to initial either of these, the likelihood is that I will decide to not take your listing. In our conversations, you may have already heard me say that these days the first showings don't happen in your home, they happen on the internet. I do recommend that you initial this section saying that you don't want unauthorized comments on any of the websites that we control or automated estimates of value because they're usually wrong. We'll talk about that a little more when we meet face to face. Coming Soon listing status is a tool we use to create anticipation before we go on the market and while you're getting the house ready. Once I put a sign in the yard or advertise the house in any way, I must put it in the MLS under Coming Soon status, but we can't show it until it's ready for everyone to see it. Sort of levels the playing field so that no one has an unfair advantage. We'll have a more in-depth conversation about Coming Soon when you sign the paperwork. This next one seems like a no-brainer, but you may be tempted to record buyers as they go through your house using a home security system or something like a baby monitor. It's illegal to record private conversations in Maryland without the consent of all properties. You're going to initial here to acknowledge that you understand this. Next up is commissions, which is always a popular topic. My brokerage charges a 7% commission plus a $495 administrative fee. I have permission from my broker to drop that to 6%. In addition, there's a clause that says if you sell the house after the listing expires and you sell it to someone that I caused to come to the property, for instance, maybe they came to one of my open houses, then my brokerage would still get paid. By the way, you never pay the commission directly to me. My brokerage gets paid, and then I get paid a portion of that commission according to my contract with them. This clause says that if you're under contract and the buyer breaches that contract, and you make a claim against the buyer's earnest money deposit, my company can claim 50% of it. If we go right back on the market, the truth is that we really don't want any of it. Our goal is a successful sale. But if you take the house off the market, then we are going to claim 50% of it to offset our marketing costs. You may or may not know that I don't get the full 6%. The commission is actually split between my brokerage and the brokerage that brings the buyer. This section details just how the commission is split. I recommend 3% to my company and 3% to the buyer's brokerage. We call this cooperating with other brokers. We advise cooperating with buyer's agents only, not sub-agents. One of the ways that we agents can get in trouble is when we make decisions on behalf of our clients. Decisions are yours to make. However, I can tell you what instructions I would like you to give me. In this case, I would like you to authorize me to disclose the existence of multiple offers if an agent asks. The upside is that if a buyer knows there are multiple offers, he's more likely to make a better offer in order to be more competitive. The downside is some buyers won't make an offer at all. My experience is that a buyer who doesn't want to get involved in a multiple offer situation wasn't likely to make a competitive offer anyway. There are quite a few other addenda that you'll sign, mostly disclosures from you to the buyer about the property. They're listed here, though not all apply to every property. And now we get to Addendum A, and the first part is about showings. I use a showing service because my goal is to make it as easy as possible for agents to show your house. I don't want them to have to track me down in order to schedule the appointment. It also makes it very easy to track everyone who's showing your property. There are several different kinds of showings listed here, but in this time of COVID-19, pretty much everything is by appointment only. And this very last section deals with how I work with other agents. This is another instance where you need to instruct me as to what you want me to do, but I get to tell you what instructions I want. We'll talk about these in a lot more detail because they vary according to your particular circumstances. And there are more than are just on this page, but these are the specific ones that I really care about the most. And that's the basic listing agreement. If you have any questions or need more information, call me or text me or email me, and I'm happy to answer your questions. I look forward to meeting with you either face-to-face or face-to-face via Zoom conference.